Hi, everybody. I am back. It's been definitely a little while since I have checked in and really made any sort of videos and any sort of updates. So, 2023 personally was a very big year with a lot of things that I did personally and, collectively, planetarily, but also just a lot that happened just in general as a collective. So, in today's energy update, I really wanted to talk about some of the personal insights and visions and sort of just like intuitive feelings that I was getting for this upcoming year of 2024. But also just to kind of fill in on some of the information that I've received and have been moving into as of 2023 that I feel perhaps probably many could resonate with, as I know there was like a large amount of people awakening in 2023, and the ones that were already awake were going through really massive up levels of awakening as well. So for me, I was one of those ones that was already awake and doing my work. And I went through huge up leveling on so many levels that really kind of brought me into the awareness of the Emerald Order and the Guardians. And so I would probably say, probably about a year ago, back in 2022, I really kind of started to step away from certain things from, like, the Galactic Federation, Metatron, Archangel Michael, like really just archangels in general. Not that there's anything wrong with them. I think it's just been a part of my ascension path of just kind of um, moving through, as we go through the ascension path, we're moving through the awakening, which means we're awakening to those things beyond us, right? ETs, angels, our past loved ones, all those sort of beings, right? Fairies, right? And so naturally we find ourselves being immersed in that, right? But I've found that in 2023, I really sort of found my way into a different direction. Let's put it that way. I don't want to say it as such as like, I ascended past it. It's more of kind of like, as I've been ascending, it's like things have come and gone, right? I've come into the awareness of certain things, learned how to communicate with certain things, such as angels and all of that. And then I kind of just said, okay, thanks for showing me the way. I'm going to keep moving up the ladder and see where this takes me. And through moving up the ladder, this is where it took me into the Emerald Order and the Guardians. So I started to receive some downloads about some, I guess you could say, group stuff that at the time I didn't know was the Guardians were wanting me to create, called Guardians of the Galaxy. So it's an online grid working, free grid working group where we get together once a month and we focus on different grid work and bring in intel for different parts of the planet once a month. Then I came across some information, the Guardian teachings. And as soon as I started to read it and I started to connect the dots of like the Emerald Order and, King Arthur, the Manji Grail lines, it all just like threw me into some huge activations, and really started to help me to remember who I was on a much deeper level and what I actually came here to do. So I would say for me personally, 2023 really activated me into my grid working and my Stargate and planetary restoration type work. So it began at the beginning of last year, last January, where those big changes started to occur. And then I got the message that I needed to go to the UK. And I didn't have anybody to go with. I didn't really know how I was going to pay for it. I just knew that I needed to go. Before 2023, I had been immersing myself into a lot of my past lives and really learning more about my history, my ancestry, and really what am I connecting to, right? And a lot of that was the UK. It was Stonehenge in particular, and Avalon. So King Arthur, Queen Guinevere, all of the Fae type beings, the dragons, those sort of beings all really started to come forward for me. Now, I would say throughout my whole life, though, I've always had the fairies with me for sure. It's been something I've been fascinated and drawn to my entire life from a very young age as a young girl. And so it was kind of more of just like a moment of them being like, ah, finally. You remember, right? Like you're starting to remember, you're starting to realize where you come from. So I was called to go to the UK. And at the time, I didn't really know what I was going there for. I thought it was just more so of like retracing my steps, receiving activations, things of that nature. And so when I got into, well, actually, right before I landed in the UK, it was in May, I believe, somewhere around May 15th or a little bit before that, maybe around May 10th or something. Right before I landed, I had been really immersing myself with the information and the concept of the Tuatha De Danann, and I could potentially be pronouncing that wrong. Through some of my diving into of information, I'm not entirely sure if the Tuatha De Danann is the proper language for it, or if they are actually just the Tuatha, as there are certain, I believe, infiltrations that have happened with, certain origines of the Celtic Druidic type people, which are really, I guess, from what I'm coming to discover, is the Hyperborean type beings that came here, which were like angelic, King Arthur bloodlined type beings that are connected with the Sidhe, the Fae, the dragons. So I was connecting in with those energies, and my whole trip was guided by the Tuatha. I'm just going to say the Tuatha for the sake of this video. I'm not trying to disrespect my ancestors or anybody else on this journey. I'm just still learning like everybody, and trying to figure out what's true, what's not true, and what resonates with my soul. So the Tuatha met me as soon as I got there. And so for those that don't know, I am a clairvoyant. I'm very clairvoyant. I'm very clairaudient. And so I can see beyond the realms. I am really connected to a lot of my multidimensional gifts, being able to read multiple timelines, multiple dimensions within ourselves, the universe, the different beings and information and trauma stored there. So this helps me to not only help my clients with their healing and their spiritual development and all the things, it helps me when I'm going on these trips. So I went there and I was immediately met by the Tuatha, and I was given some gifts of cloaking to be able to go do my work. So in another video, I'm probably going to talk a little bit more about that journey, but I'm bringing this up here because it is relevant of what some of the 2024 energies are all about. So let's talk about that Emerald Order, and let's talk about the dragons. So I was awakened to the fact that where I was going to Glastonbury tour, and of course Ireland, which is the Emerald Isles, that's the heart chakra center of the planet. So I did receive a huge, massive heart chakra clearing and upgrade when I was at that location. I was at both locations of Leophalis, I believe it's called, which is it's the coronation site in Ireland. Trying to think of the words here. And I was at Glastonbury tour in England. And so that was what really kind of activated me into that Emerald Order type energy. It was being in that emerald frequency of the planet, being at Glastonbury tour, being on the Emerald Island of Ireland, and doing my work there. So when I came back, that's when I really started to dive more into who are the guardians, what do they want from me, what's the Emerald Order, and all of these sort of things. So basically what I came to the understanding of is that the Emerald Order is a part of the Christos realignment mission that many different types of tribes of beings have been a part of. My tribe in particular is of the King Arthur bloodlines, and I believe that's tribe 12. There was the Asani massacres back in the day, which was to wipe out those beings that were of the original 12 tribes. That has happened all over the planet, and those 12 tribes, again, are a part of all the different tribes on the planet where we've seen genocide, where we have seen torture, slavery, and all things of that sort. So it was about coming into this realization of the this Christos realignment mission and working on the grid lines, working on the Stargate centers, and honestly, more than anything, working on the stone circles. So the stones hold information. They are a library. So we know a library as a library that we go and we grab a physical book. But the ancients utilized, crystals and stones to transfer telepathically information into these stones. And so I read somewhere that the stones are kind of like the skeleton of what was at one point a holographic living library that we can still have access to. If we go to these locations, we open up our heart and we meditate, set that intention to be connecting in with that. Now, I believe that because of my commitment to my mission in this path and my healing and the greater cause of this planet, it has allowed me a little bit more access to certain types of information, which is why I feel that the guardians came through for me to show me what it is that I'm supposed to be doing next. So it was about in Ireland about activating, it was about recreating the templates, okay? That is the false king template. So right at that time that I landed in England, it just so happened that that was the weekend of the king's coronation in England. I didn't know that before I went there. I had no idea why I was traveling on the dates that I was traveling. I didn't even look into it. I just trusted what I was being guided to do. It just so happened that the second night I was there was a full moon where I was at Stonehenge. And of course, there's a lot of darkness with Stonehenge as well. That's very connected in with Canada. And a lot of those siphoning networks where they're siphoning different loosh harvesting energies, okay? So at the time, again, I didn't know this very much. I didn't know. However, I do know that I activated something deep within me, including that emerald order, that emerald heart, okay, the emerald isle. And that emerald isle heart is also part of our universe, right? The emerald frequency, the emerald heart of the universe. So when I had gotten to Glastonbury tour, I was met by a fairy type being, and I was given a sword. And at the moment, I really didn't know what that sword was. It was really kind of just like in my aura. It wasn't like, here you go, place in my hands. It was like this feeling of just like something was being given to me. When I jumped over to Ireland and I got over to the Leafale, I'm probably not pronouncing it right, but it is the Hill of Tara. So this is where the true kings would have been coronated back in the day before it was become the sort of thing that's happening over in England. So when I got to the Leafale or Fiel, the Hill of Tara, I meditated and I seen this sword come out of my aura and it went into the stone, like the holographic architecture of the stone. And it like pierced through something that was around there. I believe it was some sort of false grid or false like matrixy, false kind of architecture around it, preventing some sort of energy from taking place. I immediately seen that emerald energy like explode from that stone. And I was given the stone of destiny. And again, at that moment, I wasn't really sure what any of this meant. It was just all happening. So fast forward now, okay, to the now this now moment. I did go back to Scotland in September to continue on with that same mission that I was doing. I went to Stone Circles to gather information, to gather technology, spiritual technology, and to release a lot of the dragons that were being trapped, especially in the Callanish Stone Circle on the Isle of Lewis. So big stuff that happened. So and now here we are, okay, 2024, and we're heading into the year of the dragon, the Emerald Dragon. And the Emerald Dragon, I believe, is called the Wood Dragon. And it's so perfectly aligned with all of this emerald stuff, this emerald work that's been done. And there are many different emerald, covenant emerald guardians here on the planet doing very similar work. I myself am just starting to become awakened to others like myself doing a lot of this work. And it's really exciting because there's a lot of really incredible things to come for 2024. So part of the prediction, one of the biggest one that I got for 2024 was more, how do I put it? Like more earthquakes. I got this vision probably about 4, 5 weeks ago, maybe back in November. It's like some back in November at the time of this recording. So November 2023, I was talking to a friend of mine in Utah, and all of a sudden I just got this vision of this huge crack in the earth that was going to come and just shake the planet up. But until that happens, that there was going to be a lot of smaller ones or semi-small ones, medium ones, leading up to this. And when I connected in with the planet, the consciousness of the planet, what she told me was that this was the crumbling, right? This is the planet literally shaking and breaking free from the trauma that it's holding on a collective scale, on a multidimensional scale, and that these earthquakes, when they do happen, it can and will cause a lot of different people to be feeling this. And so you may feel up and down, you may feel depressed, you may feel sadness out of nowhere, you may be crying out of nowhere. Okay, this is because obviously the morphogenetic field of the planet and us, we're all connected. And so those memories that are stored in the planetary memory field are stored within us too. And as it's breaking loose and breaking free from the planet, that density, it's also breaking loose and breaking free from us. And so some might be feeling it more than others. Some might not be feeling it all, and that's okay too. It doesn't mean that it's not happening or you're not connected. Everybody has a different role of what they're playing in terms of being a light worker or a guardian or a starseed or a healer or whatever it is. Everybody has a different role of what they're doing, what they're holding, what they're activating, what piece they're playing, all the things, right? So I was shown that there is going to, I would say probably maybe near the end of the year of 2024, be some sort of massive earthquake that's going to come. Now, obviously, we would see this as chaos and destruction, but what this really is healing. It's a lot of healing happening on a planetary scale, and this is a positive thing. This is when this big one comes, I was told that this is like a huge tipping point in humanity's collective awakening, and really taking back more of that power for ourselves. Now, I was also really kind of shown different timelines. So as usual, right, there's so many of us on different timelines. We're all on different timelines. We're all experiencing this ascension differently, in different ways. So it's going to depend on where you're at, and it's going to depend on what you're plugging into to be the experience of what you're going to experience here in 2024. Okay. So Spirit really wanted me to talk a little bit more about matrix consciousness. For those that might still be experiencing that matrix consciousness and seeing and feeling more of the negative or the fear within the planet and having a hard time, we could see this in terms of like what we're seeing as with the war, okay, over in Gaza. Okay, this is something that I know for myself, I'm paying attention to very closely, but I'm not giving my emotions to it because, again, as we know, energy flows where attention goes, right? Or however you want to say that. So the more that we put emotion, energy and motion into something, then we're helping to speed that up, right? So for me, it's not about ignoring the situation by any means, but it's about seeing it from that fifth dimensional perspective. So raising my vibration high enough above the emotional field. It's like a cloud. So I see it as like a cloud of emotions around it. And it's being fed by people feeling those emotions and feeding their emotions to it, getting angry, getting worked up, which is rightly so. However, with those emotions, we are feeding it. It's like feeding the beast, right? So what I've been guided to do is to observe and be the neutral observer, connect in with the souls that are leaving this planet. Ask them, did you decide to do this? Are you okay with this? Are you trapped? Do you need help, right? The message that I'm receiving from a lot of them is that they had decided to make this sacrifice. Now, there's a lot of different other angles that go into this. Some souls are needing a little bit more help. Some souls are completely victim to it. There's a lot of angles to this, and it's not really something that I'm going to go over here today because it's not what I'm being guided to do. But just providing just that different perspective of, you know, instead of feeding anger and emotion towards it, how can we shift the perspective from a neutral observer, and just, if you are a worker of energy, of light, of, tapped in with your psychic and mediumship kind of abilities, how can you be of higher service by connecting in with the land itself, remote viewing if you have to, or just through meditation, connecting in with the souls and seeing how you can lend a hand that way. And that's just the intel that I got. There's going to be obviously different things that different people get. This is personally what I'm receiving. So again, we're going to see lots of different types of chaotic things happening, destructive, unfortunate things that, yes, some of it is a part of the plan and some of it is being controlled through the controller beings, right? And they're continuing to feed their agenda by giving us little hints or having a trigger point, right? Causing some sort of natural disaster to trigger the Armageddon software within us, which will help feed the beast again, right? So whenever we're like coming up against these things, it's different when you're right a part of it. Like say you live there and you're going through it, or you have family members, it's a little bit harder. But on the outside looking in, we can help to hold that container and that space a little bit better and help to keep pulling people out of that timeline by holding our ground and holding our vibration at a specific frequency, to show people that there's another way, that this doesn't have to be it, but it will be if we continue to feed it, right? So again, as we know, that's how the magic works, the black magic, that the beings that try to control us, they give us predictions, they predict that something's going to happen, or they create fake chaos or fake stories or whatever, right? To try and get us to buy into it so we can co-create that together for them. So in 2024, it's really going to depend on where your consciousness lands, right? Are you still giving your time and energy into the lower timelines? Or are you feeding it into co-creating the highest timeline of Earth, right? This means absolutely not ignoring the negative and the evil that's happening. Lots of people, including myself, have been contracted to a lot of the times go into a lot of the darkness of this planet and a lot of the different things and bring disclosure and awareness to it, simply for the sake of allowing it to transmute, right? When we shine light on the shadow, on the darkness, we can immediately start to heal it. And so I know for me in 2023, a lot of the work I was doing, and it ended up triggering a lot of people. I was shining a lot of light on the shadows within the spiritual communities of some of the information that's out there in regards to the moon and Metatron and Thoth and things of that nature. And so, there was a lot of people that were like, wow, okay, that's interesting, right? And then there was others that were just like, they weren't having it, right? And that's okay. That's okay. We are in, that was like, this 2023 for me was really that age of disclosure. And I know for many that it was, right? We were disclosing so much, and there's going to be more of that to come here in 2024. And so part of the mission for me personally is to continue to shine that light. And so again, it's not about ignoring the shadows and the darkness and the evil. It is about exposing it and bringing it to the light, but not feeding too much emotion, energy and motion to it to continue to manifest it, right? It's about figuring out how to transmute that through the healing. So the healing is everything. Again, focus on your own personal healing, focusing on your highest, best timeline for yourself. And that's not selfish. What that does is it helps to shift the entire planet, because we're all quantumly entangled. So as soon as you heal through something, the planet's healing through it, right? And so on and so forth, vice versa. So continuing to focus on your healing, continuing to focus on what is going to bring the most happiness, abundance, and unity to your personal life and the planet, right? Possible. So I know next month in February for myself, I'm off to Spain to go do more work on the dolmens, some stone circles, sacred sites, the grids, some of the networks, guardian networks, and that's more of my contribution to help the planet in that way. And then the other contribution is to help myself, right? And then in turn, I'll be able to help more people. And then those people will be able to help more people, and so on and so forth, right? So we just keep handing it down, handing it down, handing it down. So 2024 is going to depend on your matrix consciousness. Now, how can you know if you're like really tied into and connected to that matrix consciousness? Well, it's really limiting. There's a lot of fear and there's a lot of feeling stuck, right? A good way to know if you're really stuck in that matrix consciousness is you're feeling trapped. Like you're feeling like there's no way out, that how are you ever going to make more money? How are you ever going to find a better job? How are you going to get out of this city? How are you going to heal? How, right? You're wondering instead of just knowing, right? That knowingness is different. That means that you're disconnected from the matrix webbing and you're so connected in with your soul, and that soul is guiding you to everything you need to do, every step you need to take to achieve what it is that you're setting out to do. You'll kind of know you're part or still kind of like trapped in that matrix consciousness too, because again, there's that poverty consciousness. There's the fear consciousness. We see all the things happening around us and we get pulled into it. We feel it deeply. We feel emotional. We're struggling with money. We feel that there's no way out. We feel that the earth is doomed. The earth is not doomed. It's only doomed if you think it is, right? Your thoughts are very powerful. You'll be constantly dealing with stress of the world's unknowns. You'll just be like, stressing about this and that and the little things and all the daily tasks. Let it go. Let it go. And you're probably going to say, yeah, easier said than done, Amber. I know because I have to constantly pull myself out of the webbing of the matrix consciousness that tries to pull me back in and make me feel stressed about insignificant things, right? I have to remind myself that I can only control what I can control. There's some things I got to just let go. Let go and let be. And the more that I put my worries, my fears, my stresses into the hands of the divine, the more that I'm given a literal map of what I need to do. And things just start to fall into place. But the more that I try to control things, the more resistance that's created and the harder things get. And then you start to get negative, and then you start to experience bad luck. And then you start to go, oh, why me? I can never get ahead. It's always one thing after another. Sound familiar? Yeah, because that's the matrix consciousness. You're trapped in that web. How do we break free? We got to create independence mentally, emotionally, physically. If you're still dependent on the government for money, right, for assistance, if you're still dependent on the healthcare system, that's the matrix webbing. That's the matrix consciousness keeping you in the web, right? We create that independence by taking back our health. Our health is our wealth. The more healthy we are physically, emotionally, spiritually, all of those ways, okay, the more independent we become, because we naturally start to heal and we detach from, well, how am I going to do this, to I'm already doing this. And it takes one small step of eating better, right? Working on your mental health, creating new healthy habits every day, implementing daily practices, spiritual practices like meditation, knowing how to properly work with your own energy field, becoming a master of thyself, right? That is the utmost importance. And if we're going to be working on other people as healers, we need to know how to work on ourselves. We need to be working every day at creating sovereignty and energetic self-mastery within ourselves. When we know who we are completely and fully, we can't be controlled by anybody. Relationships, governments, doesn't matter. So for me, from what I was, prophesizing for 2023, that was a big thing collectively, is people taking back their power and their freedom by taking back their health, which is their wealth, which gets them out of poverty consciousness and poverty ways of living. Now in 2024, if you're still struggling with that, that's okay. Keep working on it. But there's a lot of people that are going to be activated into deeper parts of their mission and just what it is that they came here to do on this planet. And if you're still not stepping into that role of what you came here to do and be on this planet, you're going to feel it more deeply than ever. It's going to be yanking at you, pulling you, nudging you constantly to get going, okay? And work on yourself, your limiting beliefs, your programming, your trauma, okay? All the things that are holding you back and having you identify with a past version of yourself instead of identifying with who you are at your soul core essence and who you actually came here to be in your now moving forward future timelines. So there's been a lot of disclosure this last 2023, and there will be more. I do foresee something very big taking place within the financial systems as well. Although I haven't been given a whole lot of intel on that personally. Mostly it's been about like kind of the energy as like personal human beings, and also within the grid lines. And I know that the grid lines are coming online in terms of the Emerald Order and the dragons. The dragon lines are really coming in online more wholly and completely in a new way, which is going to, again, I feel that that's part of the shaking up of the earthquakes, because the new grid lines are coming online and they're so big, they're so expansive that they need space and they need to create that space. And so it needs to break free stuck energy, and it needs to, create the new pathways of energy and light all over the planet. So this is what I have so far, just here in this now moment. There'll be tons more to come, especially after I come back from my trip next month, which I will give a full breakdown of the mission that I've been on all of 2023, and of course leading into 2024. There's going to be an opportunity for those that feel called to come do Stargate restoration work, sacred site restoration work, okay, the living library work, working on the living libraries at the stone circles, going to a lot of stone circles, working on the grid lines, and of course, working in accordance to recrowning King Arthur. There's a resurrection type timeline that wants to take place here in 2024, and we are being called to Ireland to do so. At least my soul is. And there are specific soul groups of people that are out there that I know are going to be called to this. And so if you're feeling that call, if this intrigues you in any way, shape, or form, definitely reach out and stay in touch as I get a little bit more information on that for the coming days and months to come. I'm feeling that it might be around September 2024. And not only that, too, we're full gear and going in the Omraray Academy. So the Academy has, it's really geared towards healers. It's geared towards light workers. It's geared towards empaths and sensitives that need, it's imperative that we learn how to become strong and self-masters of our energy. Okay, this is of the utmost importance. Otherwise, we will continue to be at the whims of the matrix consciousness being pulled around, having our energy messed with, not knowing how to deal with our own energy, protect ourselves, our spaces, all those sort of things, to become more sovereign and whole within ourselves. So in the Academy in level 1, we're learning all about energetic self-mastery, all the tools you need to become, strong within yourself, your energy, your mental body, your emotional body, your intuitive gifts, learning quantum healing tools to clear out your own emotions and trauma and all those sort of things. Okay. So expanding more into the universe, the universal consciousness, multidimensional self, activations, opening up your gifts, all the things. Okay. It's a great little group of people we have going right now. And I know that it's going to grow here in 2024 as more and more people are being called to really step up and step out and really do the work that they need to do, right? To create that, a bigger impact, not only in their own lives, but that of the planet. So stay tuned for more updates, of course. You can follow the Omraray Academy on Facebook at the Omraray Academy, or you can, of course, come join our free group, which is the New Earth Ascension portal. We've got tons of people in there looking for support, adding, tidbits here and there, free classes on my website as well, theomraray.academy. You can also access some free learning resources, mini purchasable courses that don't cost an arm and a leg. You can also sign up for the Academy there, book one-to-one sessions if you're looking for help in your healing. And the healing is all about doing the clearing work multidimensionally, clearing emotions, trauma, clearing the tags, the implants, the seals, clearing the hooks, clearing the ancestral, clearing all the stuff, the baggage that's connected to you, so you can really step up and step forward into your path, into your mission of who you came here to be and what you came here to do. There's also one-to-one spiritual development, mentorship classes and courses and just trainings that you can do for whatever it is that you desire. We can work on your DNA to kind of help get you to where you need to be. Okay, so that's all I have for this small update. It's not a big one, but I just wanted to bring something forward for now because it's been a while and I did have a few things that I wanted to share. And yeah, again, you can find me in the links below this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.